All right. Hello and welcome, our probably only two listeners. Hi, Mandy and Michaela. This is the first episode of the High Tired I'm Dadcast. I am your host, Ryan, and I am joined here with my co-host, Matthew. How are you doing tonight, good sir?
Good. How you doing?
Doing all right. So basically a little bit about the podcast, first and foremost. So it's basically going to be the two of us every week, just talking about whatever shit, we decided to talk about for the week. Each week, one of us is going to switch off, sort of being I don't want to say primary host, because that kind of makes it sound like the other person's kind of not. So each week, one of us will kind of switch off on kind of hosting the particular topic that we want to discuss. And then as a duo, we will talk about it. So this week, I am going to be starting us off. But first, we'll go ahead and talk about kind of what's been going on the past week or two. And we'll probably do that around every episode. Obviously, we're not going to say everything. Like, I'm not going to tell you about how good my last poop was.
I mean, now you have me intrigued. How was your last poop?
It was.
Tell the world.
I'm trying to think of I think it was this morning. I woke up late. I slept through my alarms. Normally. So this might just be getting like a little bit too in depth about me as a human being. I go to the bathroom every single morning when I get up. I did not have time this morning because I slept through my alarms. So I rushed to get ready, rushed to work, had our meeting in the morning, and then proceeded to go to the bathroom, which was fine. It was good.
So I got to know, did you have to go the whole entire morning and like your whole day was thrown off by this?
No. Luckily, luckily I was fine. I wasn't squirming in my chair, like in the driver's seat on the highway, being like, I gotta make it. I was
right. Yeah. That's the worst thing. And then you start looking in your car like, what do I have? What can I sacrifice?
There was, oh no, wait, I was in a different car. I was going to say there was a McDonald's bag in there, but yeah, not in that car.
I'm not loving that.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm just going to think about the time you were running late for work and you had to take a, dump or a pee or whatever you do in the morning.
Yeah. This was a great start to this podcast, huh?
It is. Fun fact about me is that I take my bathroom breaks at the end of the day. So
you're a night pooper.
Yeah, I just hold it just like my feelings, like a real man.
That's all we need is a poster up in like our elementary schools. It's like real men save their poops.
Oh god. Okay. I think this would be a good time to kind of give everyone a kind of a background of like what we've kind of experienced, where we come from, and all that, to kind of get us back on track.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hosting. I'm kidding. So basically, for our first topic, I felt it was kind of it would be a good time to, it's a new year. This is a new podcast. We could talk about our New Year's resolutions. And by that, I mean, not our New Year's resolutions, because I don't believe in those things. It's so easy to just like, I'm going to go to the gym more, or I'm going to cut out sugar. And then, inevitably you do it the next week and you feel like a shitty person. And
Exactly.
Like a failure, which, we feel that every day anyways. Why make it, like, why give yourself a reason to do that?
Right. But my parents are already disappointed in me, so I don't need to be too disappointed in myself,
Exactly. So what if you didn't become a doctor? You're gonna not eat sugar for a week. But basically, what I mean by New Year's resolutions is, we as human beings, we're always kind of evolving and changing and growing. So what exactly, the two of us, right? Who are we as human beings? How have things kind of changed for us? Like, where exactly do we plan on going or doing, or like what exactly are we going to do in a sense of that evolution and that change and that growth for this year. So as you've already alluded to, right, we should probably kind of start off talking a little bit about ourselves, kind of like our history, even just the two of us as friends, and then kind of like where we've kind of grown from and what we were kind of originally planning to do, where things were going. After that, kind of talking about what exactly changed, like what were some of those experiences that we had that kind of drifted us away from those original plans. And then, as I kind of mentioned, our quote unquote New Year's resolutions, about where exactly, like at least this year, we can kind of plan out this year, right? Where are we kind of thinking this year in terms of like, where are we going? What are we going to do? Like, how are we going to grow and change, within this foreseeable future, to kind of lead us towards where, well, even just like, I know I for myself, I'm not entirely sure where I'm going, so how to, or where I'm going to try to steer myself, while I'm trying to figure that out, that kind of thing. So I can get us started with kind of where I've been, or you can do that if you would prefer to go first on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go first and you're ready for that, then go for it.
I will take that as me going first. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. On December 12th of 1994, I was born into this world. I'm kidding. We're not going to go that far back.
I was scared. I was like, there's so much that's happened.
Yeah, so basically, I was a part of a military family. We moved to Oklahoma back in the year 2000, which is where I met this dude that I'm co-hosting with. We happened to go to the same school. We lived in the same city. I believe we were in the same kindergarten class, I think, right?
Yeah, with Miss Bratton.
Yes, it was the AM class, I think, because back then, we're old people, so kindergarten back then was half day kindergarten, not full day kindergarten. Anyone below, yeah, anyone below a certain age is going to be like, "You all did what?" But yeah, so we met in the same kindergarten class. I think we were in different first grade classes. Back then, I I was friends with a kid named Aiden. I remember his name, and he was my best friend at the time. Gasp! It wasn't you. I'm so sorry.
I feel betrayed.
I know. But then second grade, we were both in.
Was that Miss Mobley's class?
Yes, I forget. Richards, I think, right? Is when she.
Yeah, Mobley then Richards because she got married in the middle of it.
Yes, yes. We were in her class together, and that was when we became best friends.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've been best friends ever since, basically. I guess I should say I attended that elementary school until halfway through our fourth grade year, and then my mom pulled both my brother and I out. I have an older brother who hopefully will never hear this because it will be very disappointing to him that it exists. So halfway through fourth grade, I was pulled out of elementary school. This was a public school, by the way, and was homeschooled at that point, which good education, not good for your social skills, as I would find out later in my life, as like people scare me, and
they scare me too. Trust me.
Yes. I guess the world just doesn't prepare you for people.
Not at all. There's no book that covers any of that.
Nope. So I was homeschooled from halfway through fourth grade until high school. I was in a homeschool co-op for a little bit, so that did help with like me still like uh, you know, being around people, because basically the only person that I stayed in contact with from public school was you, and
Mm-hmm.
so basically after, I think we were only at the co-op for like a year and a half or 2 years, and then they kind of stopped doing it. Um, at which point I didn't do anything extracurricular or outside of the home at all. So uh, who knows? I might have been an extrovert when I was younger. That was no longer the case. I became very much an introvert, um, which was probably a huge detriment to me when I got to high school. Through some connections and some friends and stuff my mom had, she learned about a private Catholic high school. I was raised Catholic. I technically am still Catholic. I'll get into that later. But went to a Catholic high school, and I was extremely introverted, and I didn't know anybody there. And it was not a fun time early on trying to like find people and friends and make friends. And yeah, that was a bit, just a bit rough. Eventually I kind of found my group amongst, the kind of nerdy people, not using that as like a negative thing. Nerdy people are awesome. I consider myself nerdy. I'm sure you probably do too, unless you're trying to be cool.
Only on days that ends with Y.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Toyota-thon. That's not even a day. That's like that. Anyways, but it was so. While the entire time growing up, this is kind of a backtrack thing, but I loved art. I went to like an art class at some point. Like I was learning stuff and whatnot, and I always kind of felt like that was going to be like my path. It was going to be something to do with art. And even in high school, like the first 2-3 years there, I was taking art classes, took AP art classes, like really dead set on, I'm going to get as good at this as I can, and I'm going to improve my skills, and I'm going to do something with this. I'm going to go to college, get a degree in some form of art field, and do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was actually kind of in high school. I was actually kind of thinking, I wanted to try to help people with art, which kind of sounds strange when you say it that way, but like art therapy was a thing, or is a thing, I should say, and I was kind of thinking, hey, maybe I do something with that because that's awesome. And so I was kind of leaning that direction. And as I mentioned, it was a Catholic high school, so there were Catholic like religion classes. And my junior year, I was sitting in one, and I was kind of spacing out. I wasn't paying attention to whatever I think there was like classmates giving a presentation or something, and I wasn't paying attention to it. Why would I? They probably weren't saying anything important anyways. Mm-hmm. And so, just sitting there kind of spacey, not really thinking about much. And then I kind of just had this epiphany of like, I love this, right? Like I love like theology and teaching or like the idea of like teaching. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do with my life. I want to get my degree in theology, and I want to be able to come back to like the high school level, and I want to teach it. Mm-hmm. And everything from my life after that point started pointing in that direction. My senior year, I was still taking an AP art class, and it got really, really crazy where we were supposed to be finishing like 3 pieces in a week, which already sounds like a lot. On top of that, the teacher was only working part-time, so she was only there every other day.
So she didn't realize all the hard work you guys had to do all day.
Yes, and if we wanted to come in and work on some of our pieces, we could only do it every other day when she was present, which made it really, yes. So there were some weeks where you only had 2 days in the week to try to finish 3 things, which is insane. And at the time, I was in cross country, and I was going to be in soccer the following semester because I started my junior year playing soccer. And the teacher's expectation was basically, well, you need to be coming in at all times you can come in during lunch, during like it was called art time, but it was basically like a time where like you could work on homework, or if you needed to talk to teachers, you can go talk to teachers. We need to come in during that time, come in before school, come in after school. If you have like sports or whatever, you have to skip those practices and stay if you need to do stuff for art, which which I was like, that ain't happening. I actually enjoy going and doing my sports because like I felt better actually going and running and like things like that. That's been a drastic change for me recently because I don't have time to really do those things and I don't do them. But like at the time I was like, no, I want to do these things. Like I don't want to be constrained to having to do all of this crazy art stuff as much as I loved art, and it just kind of killed my desire for it, which kind of fueled like that I want to do theology thing. And so I actually dropped my art class, which the teacher was not very happy about.
I'm sure not.
Yeah, I'd been with her for 3 years at that point, and so she was like, what in the world is going on? Like, how could you do this? And I'm just like, for my sanity, please.
I mean, I think, yeah, I kind of speak for our viewers here. Like, were you good at art? Like, I remember what you did, like, when we were younger, when you, like, used to draw, like, pictures and say you want to be, a game graphic designer, and you'd have me color the pictures that you drew and all that. Like, I remember that. So, like, I know you're good at drawing, but, like, did your teacher think you were good, too?
Yeah, I mean, so the funny thing is like, I did a graphic design class, which I'm not so good with most mediums. Like we used a lot of like oil stuff and like whatnot, and I'm very like with those things. I think she definitely thought like my drawing was where my like strong suit was. Because even like in 2D design, my portfolio was all photography. And I remember the first time we were going through like my sets of pictures, she was like, some of these are pretty good. Most of them are eh. And I'm like,
yeah,
what? So like she had like a really high bar, I think, for a lot of things. And
sounds like it.
Yeah, which is pretty obvious with the fact that she wanted us to finish 3 damn pieces of art in 1 week. Like that's insane. But
oh god.
Yeah, so but like she definitely I think there was one particular piece. I don't even know if I have it anymore, which is kind of a shame because I think it was my best piece I ever did. But it was a drawing, and she actually had put it into I tried to get it put into like an art show in Oklahoma City, like for high school students. It ended up not getting picked, but still the fact that like she had enough, I guess, like confidence in me to put it like it was pretty crazy.
That sounds pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, so it definitely sounded like no, not art. Drawing was kind of my strong suit when it came to art, but yeah, it was just I couldn't do it anymore. It was like too much. So I went all in on like the theology thing. I went to a Catholic university where I actually met my wife. That might be on a future podcast episode. Stay tuned. Now you have to keep
possibly around like Wednesday,
maybe. So you gotta keep listening, or else you're gonna miss that.
Yeah, so keep listening.
Yes.
But I'm not telling you. I'm suggesting it very harshly.
Yes, listen harder. That time I am telling you.
See, bad cop and badder cop.
Bad cop and worst cop. So I went to this college. I got my degree in theology, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to get a job either teaching or being like a youth minister at a parish or church, so I can use my degree. And first kind of notch towards the the church kind of on like a grand scale here. Um, the church that I went to, I talked to the priest there, and he basically told me like, no, youth ministry not good. Uh, like there was one when I was there, but as soon as when my class graduated, the youth minister, her son was in my class. And so after we graduated, she stopped being the youth minister there, and then there basically was no youth ministry after that.
That's
And so,
crazy.
yeah, and so I was like, hey, maybe I could, do this thing. And the priest was like, no, we don't
That's,
really see any reason for there to be a youth ministry, and which I think is
that's oh
insane.
yeah, it's so crazy because like for there to be more followers and for like for there to be more people in the church, like there has to be youth ministry. There has to be like a breaking point to where you become like a child to youth to like the adult ministry to make that kind of like trap set point or whatever like much more clear for people. I feel like, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. That's the whole point of youth ministry is, supposed to be designed around the fact that, they're no longer going to be youth in the church, but they're the adults of the church. Once they kind of, get to that, the age, and being able to give them sort of a springboard of like, well, now you are actually like connected into the church, like,
Mm-hmm.
here's your community, right? Your community is right here, and yeah, without a youth ministry, like it's significantly more difficult to try to do that. Um,
Exactly. So like they're just saying like, yeah, you're either a child and can't think for yourself, or you're like a freaking adult. And like for me personally, like most of my 20s, I felt like I was like in between. Like I need an adult, you know?
exactly, like that's basically what college is like you're just a glorified like high schooler almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're out on your own, but like I mean, I was out on my own, and I was still getting like $100 allowance like a month or whatever from my mom to like buy food.
Nice. That's really good.
Yeah, so it's like that really baffled me. And then he was like, well, you know what, like maybe you could teach at the school that's attached to the church. And I was like, I don't know, I'll think about it or whatever. But I then ended up
Mhm.
taking an absolutely terrible job at a school out in Arkansas. It was a all boys boarding school, also a Catholic school. Um, and I won't go too much into detail here, but basically, job was really, really bad. I worked like 72 plus hours a week. Um,
Holy shit. Like, excuse
yeah.
my, that's a lot.
Yeah, so well that was counting the time where, we would technically be like on call at night, like, we would be sleeping there like on campus, like in the dorms, like with the high schoolers and stuff. But at the same
Mhm.
time, it's like, well, you're on call. Like if a kid, gets up in the middle of the night and has a headache and needs something for it, like you got to be the one to go and do that. you know. So
Wow.
we kind of counted like that as like that time, working too. So like including that 72 hours plus a week, depending on if they're like, hey, you need to go and drive kids to the airport or whatever. Um, it was like,
Off of like what, my 3 hours of sleep? Like,
yeah, I mean, pretty sure I had to do that before. I got like, a couple hours of sleep and then had to go and drive like a couple kids out like 2 hours to the airport. It's yeah. um,
wow.
the I,
Continue.
yeah I yeah, I did not like that job. And there were some other issues with it too, but again, not going to go into detail with that here. Maybe in a later episode. But I was only there for the year. The good thing about it was that I did live on the campus, so I didn't have to pay like bills or anything. So I ended up saving like a good chunk of money, for when Mandy and I got married and we went on our honeymoon and stuff. So all of that was paid for. Able to buy a new car,
Nice.
because she had wrecked her car the morning of our wedding. That totally not bad luck at all. um, but yeah, so we needed a car when we got back from our honeymoon, so we bought one. Everything was good. Um, when I'd come back for the summer after that previous job, I was kind of like, okay, I got to find something because I don't have anything. But a friend of mine from college was leaving her job because she was going and moving out to New Mexico with her husband at the time. And so basically she like kind of put in a word for me at that school, kind of talked me up a lot. And I ended up getting basically, replacing her and getting her old job, which was teaching technology at a like Catholic elementary school, where I taught pre-K all the way through 8th grade. I taught them technology. So some of them I was teaching like how to type. Some of them I was teaching like, kind of basic coding and things like that. And then some of them I was teaching.
Wait. So were you like teaching like pre-K to like 8th grade all together in one class, or were they like separate classes based on?
There was basically like a 3-day rotation where I would teach every single grade level, whatever it was that their particular grade level was focusing on for, computers and technology. And then, it would just kind of like rotate that way.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense now.
Yes. So, I was teaching there. There was a couple things with that job that I was not a huge fan of. The main thing being that it was technology and not theology. So, like, as certain things would, sort of improve and revolutionize on like the technology front, I would essentially have to be pivoting and learning myself all the time, which on top of doing, I was having to do like 11 sets of lesson plans. Which I mean,
my gosh.
Yeah, most teachers probably only do, I don't know, probably like 3, 4, 5-ish, depending on like if they're teaching like all of the subjects and things like that. I was doing 11 because I had to do one for each grade level, plus like 4 different elective classes.
Were you getting compensated for all these lesson plans you had to make?
I mean, I was getting paid as a teacher.
I think that answers the question.
Yes. And that was kind of the other snafu is like, Oklahoma teachers don't really get paid very well. A lot of teachers are actually essentially quitting their jobs and then relocating to other states because of that. I think it's technically starting to get better like now because of how big of an issue that has been. But like there's still a teacher shortage here in Oklahoma because of that. So yeah, but it was enough for us at the time. Which is fine, and and I liked actually like working with the kids and teaching, but technology was just a bit much, and the fact I was a specialty teacher and having to do that much work, because needless to say, I was not doing 11 sets of lesson plans, because that was having to actually like do the things to teach them was already like doing a lot of stuff. That I was doing like in the classroom and outside of the classroom at home. So I wasn't going to add on a bunch more time doing the lesson plans too. So there was kind of a mixture of a few things like that. It was also kind of a like a cha-ching, like Richie Rich school. Which kind of was some issues with how some of the parents may have acted about their kids' education. So that was kind of another thing that was a little off-putting here and there. Which is kind of sad to say, but that happens from time to time when it comes to just like I'm not even going to say like religious education or like religious like institutions, because it happens outside of those two, but it just so happened to be a religious one in this case. So I was kind of looking to potentially leave there because it was just kind of a little bit frustrating and kind of wearing me down a little bit. And halfway through my second year there, I saw that the church around the corner, the Catholic church around the corner, had an opening for a youth minister. So
Oh,
this was like a
nice.
ding, ding, ding moment of holy crap, I can do something with my degree field that I want to do, and I can do it, and I can be happy. Because that was kind of a recurring theme at this point, was get past whatever bad job or like really rough time of the year or whatever, and then I'll be happy. And at this point, that mindset was not working. And I kept it even to this point, and I was like, hey, as soon as I get this youth ministry job and start it, I will be happy. So I ended up getting the job, and I at the end of the year, or I should say, like I interviewed for the job, and then I got an email, saying, hey, congratulations, we're going to offer you the job. So I said yes. I went in for a meeting with the principal and vice principal to kind of tell them, hey, I'm not going to be returning at the end of the year, or after the end of the year. So the next school year I won't be here. And that was on a Monday before spring break. The year just so happened to be 2020.
Oh gosh.
So needless to say, the end of that week was the beginning of spring break. And at the beginning of spring break, we also received an email saying, hey, we're not going to be coming back to the school after spring break because of the pandemic.
Nice. So you got out of your obligation like sooner.
So, well, I still had to do stuff.
Oh gosh.
But luckily, because we were specialty classes, we weren't like 100% required. Like the kids weren't 100% required to actually complete our courses and complete the schoolwork. So it's kind of just, hey, put some stuff up on like the school website, whatever. And then, if kids do it, kids do it. If not, don't worry about it. You don't have to put in grades or anything for it, which was kind of crazy. But it was better.
Crazy.
Yes, it was better though than all of the other teachers were having to do like Zoom classes and things like that. So I much rather was super happy with how we did it. Pandemic hit. I was kind of worried because I was like, well, if we're going to be in lockdown, I'm going to be starting this new job. Am I even going to get paid for it? Like, am I going to be doing anything for it? Because we're not going to be able to like meet in person to do like, meetings and things like that. But luckily by the end of the summer, the lockdown stuff started to lift it up a bit. That's not proper English. The the lockdown stuff started to lift up a bit. And so luckily I was actually able to actually go in and like start my job. Which, of course, being the young, dumb, and naive little boy that I was, I went in very bright-eyed and was like, yes, I'm going to make some huge, like, changes in like what's going on. Like, we're going to make this really, really good. Everybody's going to love it. It's going to be like, the best thing ever. I'm going to be happy, back to what I was saying before. And that didn't happen. So basically, the first year was a bit rough. So there had not been any sort of youth ministry stuff going on since the previous person had left, like half a year before I got hired. Which, again, that's kind of the weird like eyebrow raising thing of like, well, if this is important, why isn't there something? And so obviously a lot of the parents were already up in front, like kind of like not happy about that. And also keep in mind, a lot of the parents here were the same parents at the school I had because it was literally right around the corner from the school. And so there were a lot of, kind of richer, let me put it this way. I was working with kids, right? Or I was working, with children. And then I was also working with their kids in youth ministry.
I see. Yeah.
So there was a lot of like kind of self-entitlement about like what should be happening, which already kind of made things more difficult for me coming in. So I was also having to do like the confirmation program, which, most people probably won't really know what that is unless they're Catholic. But there is a sacrament called confirmation, which is sort of the hey, you are now an adult in the church. Right, so they kind of go through, education for, at that time it was 2 years, which is ridiculous. They finally cut it down to 1 year, which I think they should have done beforehand. But
Yeah.
yeah, so basically it was like, they took 2 years of classes to kind of learn more about like the church and their faith and, all that other stuff. And then at the end, they receive the sacrament if they choose to. That's kind of the important thing, right? Is that like it's their choice as an adult in the church to, accept the sacrament and become an adult in the church.
Gotcha.
And so, I was leading that as well this first year, and it was such a pain having to do that because of the people that I had volunteering with me were very dead set on how it should be done, and anything I did that slightly deviated was kind of met with like some combativeness, which is kind of a reoccurring theme over the course of my time there.
I remember you telling me about stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it was weighing down on me mentally, like quite a bit, to the point where, on my drives home, I wanted to drive into a ditch, or I wanted I wanted to stop at the like overpass and like jump off or something. Like it was really bad, and so my boss obviously like was like, hey, well, I can kind of tell like it's weighing down on you a bit. You've been doing a good job with like the actual youth ministry stuff because I got it kicked off and going. And he was like, but let me take the confirmation stuff that'll go to the religious education director, and then you only have to worry about youth ministry. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I can only work on this, and I will be happy.
You're emphasizing happy a lot.
Spoiler here. That still didn't work. So I'm sitting here doing the youth ministry stuff. I started doubling down on it like really, really, really heavily. I was able to get some volunteers that actually wanted to help with it, which some of those volunteers were people I had with confirmation. So I already kind of knew that wasn't going to go super, super well in some cases. And then I had some new people also join in that were friends with those people. So again, not really looking like it was going to go super great. And then, basically the entire sort of half a year that I was working with them, I was just met with so much like combativeness and, well, this is how we should be doing it, and you're not doing it correctly this way. I felt that the way that you did it was not strong enough, things like that. Basically almost in a sense where it was like, well, if you don't like how I'm doing my damn job, then why don't you just do the damn job?
Yeah, sounds super toxic.
Yeah, and the thing that was really frustrating is it's like I'm one person, and so the whole point of like having them as like a team is that like I needed them to kind of take particular jobs to sort of ensure that like we had all of the bases covered and like the youth ministry was going to flourish. And a lot of the times that would be met with like, well, you need to tell us what to do so we can do it. And then, I would tell them what to do, and they would be like, well, like, isn't this stuff you should be doing because it's your job, you're getting paid for it? And so, I would back off, and then it would be like, well, you're not telling us what to do. And I'm just like, well, make up your damn minds.
Yeah, like, have me tell you what to do, or have me do it. Like, you make up your damn mind too.
Yeah, and so I most of the time I tried to burden a lot of the stuff on myself, and so because of that, like this wasn't some kind of like big, huge thing going on with them. They were like, no, this should be some sort of big, huge thing going on. We need big numbers. We need to be able to compete with like Life Church down the street. And I'm like, that's not what we're trying to do. Yeah, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make legitimate connections with like the kids that we have currently coming. We had like 40 to 45 coming from middle school every single week, and apparently that wasn't enough. And it was really heartbreaking to me with all of that. And like I said, I was not happy because I was having to deal with them. I was dealing with the fact that like a lot of the times I was kind of feeling inadequate as, a youth minister.
A leader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And on top of that, I was feeling inadequate as a person because I apparently wasn't doing a good enough job, this, that, and the other. I was feeling inadequate as a husband and a father because I was spending so much time away from home. And it was just all of this stuff. And so, keep in mind, I was wanting to do this. Like, I went to school for 4 years and got a degree to do this. Which is the way I say it now is like, that was a mistake. Whatever like that pathway kind of led me to, like it led me to this thing that made me realize that I did not want to do this. And, I basically got an ultimatum from my boss of like, hey, I'm hearing a bunch of stuff from like your volunteers about like stuff isn't going as well as it should and this and that and the other. And, he was like, you need to improve this, by like our our meeting next month, or I'm gonna have to let you go. And so I was like, well, shit, like, and I can't do that because I gotta provide for my family. So, I did the best that I could. I was hauling ass, I was doing what I could, and we had the meeting, and he was like, yeah, things have improved a lot, and you're doing really, really good, and keep up the good work. And I was like, hell yeah, like I did it. I passed that hard part. I can finally be happy.
Yeah.
And so,
spoiler alert.
Yes, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so that was in November. We didn't get to have a meeting in December because he had like surgery. And like the Christmas break and stuff was coming up and stuff, so we didn't have a meeting in November or in December. And so over Christmas break, he calls me and says, hey, or I think he sent me a text message was what it was. Sent me a text and said, hey, I need to have a meeting with you in January, like as soon as we come back into the office.
Over Christmas break when you're trying to relax?
Yes.
What the fuck?
At the time, it was kind of in the back of my mind of like, is this a bad meeting? Because, he told me at the previous meeting that like, oh yeah, like in a couple weeks I have a meeting with like a couple of like parent volunteers or whatever. So we'll see whatever it is like they want to talk about, which I was instantly just like, well, those are two of the volunteers that typically, caused a lot of shit. And would say like a lot of stuff. Like there was one time a really big family emergency came up while I was having a meeting with them all, and I said, hey, I've got to go, family emergency. I literally told them exactly what was going on. I even told them like the details of like the emergency, and they were like rushing me off, like, well, you need to go be with your family, like you've got to go, this is important, it's like an emergency, right? One or two of them then go to my boss and tell them that I told him that I left that meeting without even saying anything.
What?
Which is a complete freaking lie. I straight up told them every detail before I left, and they knew what was going on. But yeah, they turned it around on me as if like there was some kind of issue with me. Just I left, which that didn't happen. And so, like, obviously,
again, I'll say it, like, so fucking toxic. Like,
yeah, exactly. And no wonder I wanted to jump off the bridge. And so,
glad he didn't, but still,
yes,
I can totally see why.
Yeah. So I, go into this meeting, and I'm already kind of having this thought process of like, okay, he talked to them, this might not be good. But he told me last time that I was doing a really, really good job and things were improving, or things had improved, so I should be fine, right? I kind of talked that up to myself. I was even talking to a counselor at the time, and they were like, well, like you hate this job so much, would it really be the worst thing in the world if you got fired? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, no, it wouldn't. Like,
is this foreshadowing right now?
Maybe. Short story short, I went into the meeting and he said, I'm letting you go. So yeah, I did end up getting like fired from the job. The thing kind of sucked about it was, like, especially my high schoolers, or in particular the high schoolers, there's a group of them that I really like grew, close to. Like I really appreciated them. My high school, like adult volunteers, I considered them friends. That's how like good they were. And I really appreciated like all of that group and all of them. And I was gonna miss them because seeing them once a week, that was kind of the highlight of my week working there, was being able to go and hang out with them. And the thing that kind of sucked was like, my boss let me go, and he said, we'll pay you out to the end of the school year. So he let me go in January, right? Finished out January. And so I was officially let go like at the end of January. So he paid me out February through May, which was really cool. Most bosses wouldn't do that. They would just fire you and call it there.
Good luck.
Yes, exactly. Be like, oh, you need a new job or you need to figure something out? Well, fuck you. So,
right.
But I also think I was on contract, so I think it was literally just like they paid me out the end of my contract, so I don't know. But either way, like we recovered, so like I actually got to take like some time off, before we kind of like looking for and getting like another job, which was nice because I worked so much and lost so much time with my family that I wanted to kind of get some of that back.
Definitely.
But the thing that really sucked about it, because of that and getting like the payments through the end of the school year and stuff, I basically had to tell everybody there that I was leaving, not that I was let go.
That's messed up.
Yeah, I did break that for my two high school adult volunteers. I straight up told them, I was like, yeah, so I'm having to tell everybody else that I'm leaving. I was like, but I consider the two of you friends, and I'm close enough with the two of you that I'm actually going to straight up just tell you that I got let go. Which they were kind of what was that?
How'd they take that?
Oh, like they, from what I gathered, they were not very happy about that, because they felt that I was doing a really good job, or at least a pretty decent job, and the fact that like they didn't have youth ministry there, and there was a big hole there with that until I showed up, and I was showing the dedication to like the kids and stuff that they just didn't really see before. And they figured, pretty much that, after I left, like, they probably weren't going to be able to get anybody new for a while. Which ended up being the case. Like, they still haven't hired anybody new, technically, for, like, my position, or my old position there. They have
this day?
Up to this day, yeah. Wow. So they have a director of youth ministry, or the director of religious education has had to take over that as well. And so they basically had to take over that old job, and then they're still doing their other job too. So,
and I bet they're not getting compensated for it. Like, they're just taking on more shit and be like, "Hey, you're doing a great job. Here's more work."
Yeah, pretty bad. I'm sure that is the case. Or if they are, they're only getting paid like half of what I got paid on top of what they get paid or whatever.
Damn, man.
Yeah, but most likely, yeah, they just didn't get a pay raise or anything for that. So
no bueno.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so basically, that ended out. I was like, I'm never doing anything like working inside the church ever again. Just because of the politics of everything and like how that went, and just again wanting to be happy. One of the only good things that kind of came out of that, I guess, is that I ended up realizing that my way of thinking was me just trying to kind of mask the fact that I was depressed, and that I had depression, and so I did get that formally
diagnosed. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I got that formally diagnosed. I already knew I had anxiety, but being able to get the actual like depression like diagnosed, and kind of realized that, well, that, you know, and then I'm going to be happy thing wasn't really just going to happen. Was pretty freeing, and that was probably the only like really good thing that came out of like having that job, was I kind of had that realization. And so I kind of bounced around and did a couple things, trying to figure out whatever the hell it was that I was going to kind of do with my life at that point. So for a little bit, I was a like administrative assistant at a quote unquote property management company, which was really just like one woman that had like one other person that worked part-time in the office, and then like a few people doing like other odds and ends that worked from like different countries and like different states and stuff.
What?
Yeah, it was like, it was not like a business. It was like one person just kind of like doing it as a pastime, kind of.
Did you get your paychecks like as like stacks of cash under the table, or?
No, I mean, it was like official stuff. Like I officially got paid, you know, like all that stuff. But like, it was just really weird. And you know, when I was going through the hiring process for that, one of the things that the boss kept saying was that, like, you know, well, we're constantly going through and like evaluating like what we need, you know, because like we're constantly kind of like shifting and trying to find out like what, you know, what is that we're going to kind of like look like at the end of like that transitioning and, you know, growing and stuff. And so I guess it was always kind of like planned that like anybody that works there basically is like there temporarily.
Interesting.
Because like she basically hired me to fulfill a role, right? Like being the administrative assistant and like doing some other odds and ends. Like I used to have to go to like the properties that were being rented out at like the 1 year mark and go and do like a 1 year inspection, as well as like send like lease renewals to those residents afterwards, right? And so like I was doing other odds and ends as well, and after a couple of months, like at some point in the summer, I think it was in July, she came into my office while I was working. It was on a Friday, and she goes, "Hey, so I just wanted to talk to you real quick." This was like I had like less than an hour left of work that day.
I think I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, she comes in and she goes, "Hey, can we talk for a second?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she goes, "So today's your last day." Which, you know, I had to fight back, being absolutely pissed. You know, like I said, it kind of seemed from the get-go that things weren't like super like structured and organized. So I kind of always felt like maybe this job is just temporary, and you know we'll see. And so like it wasn't necessarily a shock that like she was like, oh, you know, I'm hiring. She hired an assistant manager, and she decided that she was just going to give my work to the assistant manager, which is kind of weird and shitty. But you know, whatever. I'm not gonna, you know, judge that. But the thing that really set me off and pissed me off was the fact that like she didn't come in and say, hey, like, you know, in 2 weeks we're gonna, you know, your position's gonna be dissolved, so you know you might want to start looking for jobs or like whatever.
That would have been the appropriate thing.
Yes, give me sort of like a 2 week notice. You know, the typical thing is if you're leaving a job, you give them a 2 week notice,
exactly.
so they can prepare. You would think that maybe it would work the other way around too, right? She basically said, "Fuck that. I'm going to tell you shortly before like the end of your shift that you know, I'm no longer going to work there." So
wow,
I was so pissed, and like I was holding it all back, and I was just kind of like smiling and like nodding and stuff. And she even said something at some point that was like, you know, and I just need somebody that works more hours. And I'm like, you were the one that set my hours. You could have said, hey, I need you to work like 2 more hours a day or whatever, and I would have been like, yes sir, boss, ma'am, sir, and I would have done it. Like, total bullshit. That it was like, oh, you don't work enough hours. Well, I don't work enough hours because you don't give me enough hours. That's your fault.
Exactly.
Like, so stupid. And so I, you know, all smiles and nodding and whatever. I then, decide, hey, I'm just not even going to finish some of this work because, why the fuck would I do that? So I literally get up, I leave, and I tell her like, hey, like I'm gonna go home early because I got like some stuff finished or whatever. And she was like, okay, like have a good life. And I was like, yeah, you too. And I exit the
Oh
door.
god.
I go and get in my car, and I yell at the top of my lungs and start beating the crap out of my steering wheel because I'm just so angry. And like
As you
I
should be. Yeah.
yeah, and so I like called my wife. I like texted I think you and a couple of other friends, like
Hmm.
just because I was just so angry and I just needed people to be like, hey, dude, you're okay.
Hmm.
um, and so after that job, I was like, I gotta find something. Uh, Gotta find something quick. I pulled the Sonic the Hedgehog. I was like, gotta job fast, and so I, I ended up finding a job, basically selling ADT, like security systems to new homeowners. And
Hmm.
obviously, you probably caught that I said selling.
Yep.
Selling.
So it's probably commission, right?
I was a seller, a salesman, a dirty, skeezy, oily-haired salesman.
Did you
So
oil your hair for this job?
I wish. I I was the guy that would slap the hood of the car and be like, "You can fit so many bad boys in this bad boy."
But
And
really, it was a good girl car.
yes, yes. And let's hope our daughters don't. Yeah. Anyways,
They probably will. They'll hear it and they'll be like, "Dad, I'm proud of you." Probably not, but
Dad, I'm not proud of you.
exactly. That's more like the conversation that's going to go.
Exactly. She'll be like 4 years old, and her first words will be, or not first word. That's way too old for first words. It'll be like, like one of the
Your
first
bar
things.
is so high.
Yeah, I know. Um,
You should be talking and paying
you,
bills by 4
you,
years old.
you should be paying rent. Why don't you have a job yet? Anyways, um,
Gaga.
yeah, she'll be like 4 or 5 years old, and like it'll be like dropping her off at her first day of school. Like, I'm so proud of you, sweetie. She'll look back at me and be like, I'm not proud of you, Dad.
Go get him, daughter.
Yeah. But yeah,
Oh
so
god.
like I was going like door to door. We had leads, which was like made it better than going just like door to door. Um,
Hmm.
but so we knew like which houses were like new homeowners and things like that. But basically, I went to people's doors, knocked on their doors, and then would try to sell them on getting a sweet ass deal on ADT security for their house. Um,
Oh
which is
gosh.
which is the one thing I will say. The company itself is pretty good. Because like I wasn't working like for ADT, it was for like an authorized seller for ADT, and the
Hmm.
company itself was actually really really good. The people I worked with were awesome. My manager was really really cool, and he was actually like when I say he was like focused on making sure like everybody on his team was like growing and getting better and improving, and had goals. Like he legitimately did, and he would have like individual meetings with us to like make sure like he could be a part of like us reaching those goals and getting better. So I do have
Oh,
to
that's
give,
awesome.
yeah, I do have to give my props to my old manager there. He was awesome. Um, Obviously, like corporate was very like, because like all corporate places kind of are, because they're obviously their major concern is like how much money they're getting, and
Hmm.
like what numbers are coming in for them. So the corporate for that kind of stunk a little bit, and like they would force us sometimes to like be out like earlier if like we weren't meeting like certain quotas and stuff. So that kind of sucked. But um, on like the local level, like our office was like not bad, and it was really cool. But
Gotcha.
the job itself, like going door to door and trying to sell people, yes, like it was the deal is like really really good.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yeah.
it was really tailored towards like if somebody wanted ADT security, or even just wanted security in general, and like we pitched to them, like we were going to get them like a really really good deal, probably the best deal out there, and they were going to be getting some of the best equipment out there, and like we literally were doing it like on a basis of like doing like good by the customer, and getting them what they
Yeah.
needed and like getting it for a good price. um, Obviously the problem is that like door to door selling is, I mean I alluded to it earlier, it's kind of skeezy in a way. um
Mm-hmm.
it's not
Yeah,
really.
a lot of people don't like it, because like I know me being like a new homeowner and all that. Like I've had so many people come knocking on my door, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, like just stop already. Like I
Hmm.
don't want any of your crap. Like I just bought a house and I have no money. What more do you want from me?
Exactly. And so it's funny because we watched a video at one point, in one of our training things, that was like talking about how it's a noble profession, and it's like, I mean, it's noble in the sense that like good on you for having the, like balls to like do it.
Mm-hmm.
But like the way that the person answering the door sees it is like, no, it is not noble, you are not noble, you are the
Mm-hmm.
asshole at their door trying to sell them something when, like you said, you just bought a house and probably don't have the money for it. Like,
Exactly, and you're
and you get
yeah, like
bombarded by a bajillion people, even like multiple people from like different companies trying to sell them ADT specifically. um I had that happen. And
yeah,
I'm the same way. Like if somebody comes to my door, I'm just like, I don't really care about what you're selling, I'm not interested. And
exactly.
like that was like the worst part of it for me, was we were out for like long hours, usually like 8 to 10 hours a day, um
Oh my gosh,
like 6 days a week. And
that's a ton of hours, man.
yeah, and like we did have like a starting pay per week, but in order to get anything significant, like you had to sell a certain number of people and get commissions, which,
What?
yeah, obviously, coming off of a pandemic where a lot of people were hurting a bit financially. um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these people were, I mean, I had people even telling me like that, we can't afford anything monthly right now because they're paying their like mortgage payments and stuff, and like
Mm-hmm.
they just couldn't afford it because they don't have any money left after buying the house. um,
Yeah.
and they were affected negatively from the pandemic, and so they didn't have as much as like they needed, and like this, that, and the other. And so like I kind of felt like a douchebag. I was losing out
Yeah.
on a lot of time with my family again, um,
Mm-hmm.
and like financially, it just wasn't paying off for as much as like I was having to put in. Um, and so
Yeah.
I sat down with my boss one week, and I was like, you know what, like I just can't keep doing this, so I'm done. Um, which he actually kind of saw coming. He was like, the one thing I can say about you is like you're really good at actually going and doing your job, and actually being out there like when you needed to be and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which was really nice to hear. That was kind of uplifting. That like, oh, cool. Like I'm actually diligent enough to do my job. That's cool.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and so I was in a situation again where it was like, okay, well now I got to figure out like I got to get a job, um,
Mm-hmm.
in order to provide for my family. It just so happened when I was looking through jobs, I think it was that same week, maybe the week after, that I came across a position for a visitor service position at the Oklahoma City Art Museum. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I used to like art. um, I have no idea who I am or where I am going in my life at this particular moment.
Right.
Maybe I'll apply to this because it sounds like kind of a cool job. Um, and maybe I can kind of reconnect with my old self a little bit. So
Yeah.
I applied. I got a response back pretty decently quick, like not too quick, not like same day, like we need to interview you, of like
Right.
desperation to hire people. It was like 2 or 3 days, and it was like, oh hey, like thank you for applying. We're interested in interviewing you, so you want to come in next week to interview? And I was like, sure thing. So I went in for the interview. The supervisors I interviewed with were like super cool. We were talking about the position, and like I said, it sounded super cool. Sounded like really laid back, not too much like crazy stuff, not having to deal with like crazy people, things like that. And I apparently did some pretty decent well in the interview. A lot of the stuff that they were looking for, I had just kind of naturally picked up, having been like a teacher and like a youth minister, and working with kids and things like that.
Yeah, everything you've been through kind of coming together into one.
Yeah. And so I ended up getting the job, and I'm still currently there. I've been there for about 3 months now, and I wouldn't necessarily say like I'm like 100% like happy right now, because I still have no idea necessarily where I'm going or what to do with my life. And then there's like some other circumstances as well, but like being there, like working there at the museum, has been such a positive for me. But like I can definitely truly say that like there is some happiness like in me outside of like my family for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of experiencing that, and like it's the first time I think I've ever had work friends, like since I've
Wow.
started in the workforce. The workforce, but like yeah, I mean I enjoy being there. I really love working with the people that I work with. I really love the job. It's super laid back and like not so mentally taxing and like draining for me, and like so that's just been like really great for me so far right now in my
Awesome.
life. Yeah.
I'm glad this whole story of your life, like, it started off with you trying to find happiness and like trying to find happiness and try to use your degree for something, and then realizing like your degree wasn't what you wanted, and then just keep going through all these hardships and hardships, but just to see the light at the end of the tunnel that you finally are happy and you're doing something that you identify with because you went back to art and all that, and I think that's great for you. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy for you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. The moral of my story, very short and simple. Don't get a degree in theology. Just don't do it.
Noted. I will not go to school for that. Don't worry.
Just volunteer at your local church.
Yep, and you'll get the job without a 4-year degree and all that student debt to come along with it.
Luckily, I had I had enough scholarships to cover everything.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but still, kind of sucks because it's like 4 years. They could have done something else.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I mean, some good came out of going there. I met my wife, so there's that.
Yeah, definitely.
The ultimate good.
Definitely, I believe God has a plan, and you went down that journey, man, and it's up and downs and lows and even lower lows, and you came out on the other side and you're still going strong. So, I mean, you're an inspiration to me and you're an inspiration to all of us, I feel like.
Yeah, thank you. That's all the time we have. I'm just kidding. I
No.
rambled for a while. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. So now that we are back from our sponsored ad from Starry, wink wink
If we
Pepsi.
even get
What?
if we even get it.
Yeah, no joke. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
I don't know, maybe we'll get lucky and get sponsored by Intel. I'm kidding.
Intel. Interesting.
Yeah, they're a big tech giant, and they sponsored a comedy podcast that I listen to, which is very interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
And that might help us since we're like miles apart right now. So
Exactly. So, for anybody interested, that podcast is called Distractable. It is very, very good, very, very funny, and I've listened to like the entire thing through multiple times, like 3 or 4 times now at this point, because it's a great podcast. Go listen to it. Do it.
Yeah, I definitely need to listen to more podcasts. So.
Do it. Listen to it.
Yeah.
I am the Senate.
Oh gosh.
And anyways.
We're going to Star Wars now. Oh god.
I'm Emperor Palpatine.
Unlimited power. Is it unlimited or ultimate? I always forget that part.
It's unlimited, I think.
Okay.
Unlimited power. Unlimited story.
Right.
Thanks to our sponsorship. Wink, wink. Just kidding. We're not sponsored by Star.
Oh god, yeah. We gotta let everyone know we're not sponsored by them.
We're not sponsored by them. We want to be.
But if they ever listen to this podcast, like, please sponsor us.
If the third viewer or third listener is some dude that works at Pepsi, imagine those chances.
I don't know why when you think of when you say Pepsi, I think of like this commercial I saw from like Mexico or like Hispanic or like Spanish episode, and it shows like this really like good looking woman, and she like reaches down and she's like, see, and like pulls up like a Pepsi can. And I'm like, how is that Pepsi related? Like,
how is anything related in any of the like okay, like this is like a really like side tangent thing, but like Mandy and I noticed, Mandy being my wife, we noticed that like we were watching like, you know, some of the advertisements they have like before like the trailers at a movie theater, and they had one for, I believe it was for Coke, and it was like this really like beautiful like anti-bullying, like anti like, you know, being a dick on the internet, like let's clean up the internet and make it like a better place, like kind of like advertisement. And it was just like really like heartfelt and like, oh yeah, you go Coke. And then there was a Diet Coke ad immediately afterwards where people are like partying in the street and grinding and like all this other weird crap, and it's
what?
and it's yeah, and it's just like, what in the hell is going on? Like Coke is just like,
oh my gosh,
Coke is just like,
I mean,
we're gonna be good, and then Diet Coke is just like, let's fuck. It's like so weird.
I mean, the advertising team evidently did their job because we're still talking about it to this day.
That is a solid point.
However, it was just completely out there left field, and it's like, what the hell? And then it makes you talk about it. So like, you walk a fine line of like what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and what are people going to talk about years to come to buy our product.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently what's appropriate is, I'm gonna drink this Diet Coke and then we're gonna fuck.
I don't think that's how it works unless they're putting like the tiny blue pill in like every single like Diet Coke or something like that, you know?
Diet Coke, now infused with Viagra.
Right.
We are not sponsored by Diet Coke or Viagra.
Right? And it's like, my heart feels funny and my dick feels hard. Like,
and then if they've been drinking like alcohol, it's like, my heart feels hard if my dick feels funny.
oh my god! I think you need to call 911 at that point.
Has your heart been hard for at least 4 hours? You should probably call a doctor.
Dr. Pepper, and it's a Dr. Pepper commercial, and it just transitions.
Oh my god. It's all of them.
It's all connected.
Don't drink soda.
It'll make your heart hard. Oh my gosh. Oh.
So, name of this episode is Hard Hearts, right?
Probably. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Anyways.
I think that's all the time we have tonight. I think we'll get into my story next time. So that way we can talk about my story, my background, and all that stuff. And just spoiler alert, grab some tissues because my story isn't exactly the happiest. Just like my buddy here, but I think I'm a little bit more jaded than the rest of you because I'm a previous military member and all that. So I tend to laugh through my pain. So if I giggle a lot at stuff, so you're like, "Are you okay, man?" That's normal for me. So please don't call the police on me. Like, I'm fine.
No, I 100%. I understand that. I mean, I still constantly make jokes about like, you know, oh look, there's a car coming. I should just jump in front of it. Like tapping my feet, and like the people I'm with are like look at me and they're just like, "Are you okay?"
Right.
Like, yes, I am fine.
But
if I'm joking about it, then like I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of society nowadays is very familiar with like mental illnesses and disorders and all that. And I feel like that like joking about it may not be quite as acceptable, but I feel like that it is a coping mechanism for some of us, and for us too. I feel like that is a big coping mechanism for us.
Yeah. So get off your high horse, society.
Yeah, I mean, come down into the dirty pens with the pigs like us.
Yeah. Oink oink, motherfuckers. Oh. Anyways.
What the fuck?
Okay, we're gonna.
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, let's maybe wrap this one up. So
yeah.
All right. That was an interesting first episode.
Definitely.
A lot of it being.
And you'll definitely hear more of me in the next episode with my story, my jaded comments and all that. So
yeah, you won't have to listen to my stupid face as much next episode because we'll be listening to Matthew as he kind of does his thing, and we learn more about him and his past. So thank you. Yeah, boy. I don't know why I did that.
I was kind of wondering what the hell did you say.
I turned into a like super like southern like, yeah boy, look at the cows going off in the distance. Yeehaw!
I mean, you are from Oklahoma, and I'm from Oklahoma too, but
true.
I'm not quite there at that level yet.
Yeah, we're gonna have to knock the Colorado out of you.
We definitely will be. So you'll hear more about my story about how I came from Oklahoma to Colorado and all that. So definitely stay tuned, and we will definitely see you next time.
Yeah, thank you all so much, all two of you. Thank you again, Michaela and Mandy, for listening to the first and only episode of our podcast.
Not only episode.
Yeah, I just realized as soon as I said it, that's going to be outdated as soon as we do the next one.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to the first episode of the podcast. We are hoping to make more, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, definitely. And as always, from Dadcast, stay tired, friends.
Stay tired.